We bow down before your majesty. We cry for your grace, grace, grace. Jesus, the world needs you. We bow down before your majesty, yeah. Oh, Lord, we need your mercy, God. America needs you, Haiti needs you. We're crying out 'cause we need you right now. We need your grace. Whoa. Turn around and look at us and let us know you're there. Oh, we cry for your grace, grace. We need your mercy, God. More and more and more, more and more and more and more and more. Father God, please be the light in our moment of darkness. We know you reign forevermore. Hallelujah. Forever and ever you reign.
So introduce yourself.
Alright, hello y'all. My name is Spencer Brutus, and I am a musician, a producer. I am the owner and CEO of TRAKTION Recording Studio, and I'm from Haiti, and that's pretty much it.
So speaking of you being from Haiti, what made you progress over to the States?
Well, a few years back, well, a long time ago, back in 2004, my family decided that it was the best idea for me to move to the States, and it was just easier for me. I had already had an English background because I went to school in Haiti, and there was an American school back in Haiti, and so they thought in order for me to further my education, it'd be the best idea for me to continue going to an English school, and when it was time for me to go to college, it was easier for me to just go to an American school, an American college. So I came here pretty much for school, and then I decided to stay, and the USA has been my permanent home since then. That was pretty much it.
Now you say you came over from school for school. So how far did you go in school?
Actually, I graduated back in Haiti. It was as if I had graduated here because, like I said, it was a branch school. It was a school here, but they had a branch in Haiti, and so I was going back and forth. I came here like during the summer for vacation, and then I went back for school, and then once I graduated from high school, that was, I can't remember when it was. I think that was back in 2004, 2005. The next step was for me to go to college, and so me having an English background, an American background, it was easier for me to just come here to further my education. So it wouldn't have made any sense to, to go to college in Haiti because I didn't really have a French background. So yeah, so after high school is pretty much when I moved here permanently.
Now you speak about college. How far did you go into college?
I graduated, got my bachelor's, so I have the 4-year degree.
So how does a person with a bachelor's degree end up making music full time?
Music, I think what it is that music is more of a passion, and it's always been a gift. It's always been something that God has given me. So it was natural, and so college was pretty much you wanted to have a career, and back in Haiti, we didn't really have the mentality that music was it, that you could actually make a living with music. So I had to use music as a plan B, and then when I came here after college, I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna start my own music business, my own studio, because I just love production. I love making music. So I think it's more because of the whole passion behind making music is why I went from having a degree, a bachelor's degree, into just being a full-time musician. Is pretty much what it is. Every knee shall bow, every soul shall cry, every tongue shall testify that you are God. Every knee shall bow, every soul shall cry, every tongue shall testify that you are God. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong, mighty in battle. Who is this King of glory? The only one who is invincible. It's
And when did you start making music?
I started making music on a professional level. I want to say probably like 8 years ago. So it wasn't. Well, I started learning music when I was a kid. When I was 8 years old, I started playing music at the age of 8. But then professionally, I'd say roughly about 8 years. Yeah.
And how long has it took you to develop the studio that you founded?
It took me about the same amount of time, 8 years, because building a studio is not easy. Building a studio, like it takes a lot of work, and then it takes a lot of money. Every single equipment is expensive, and unless you have the money sitting there, you're gonna have to buy each piece of equipment by itself, and then just keep building. So I started about 8 years ago. I didn't have what I have now. I probably had a computer, and it was a laptop computer, and I remember it's a whole bunch of stories. I remember back in the day, about 8 years ago, I didn't even have a studio microphone. I used a regular church microphone to record myself, and I used a handkerchief as my mic filter. So it's throughout the years, God has opened doors. I've been able to buy stuff one by one, equipments one by one, and then after 8 years, I have what I have now. It took a while, but yeah, it was a rough start, but I'm proud now of where I am.
So you would definitely advise other artists to continually to invest in themselves.
Definitely. You have to invest in yourself. Like that's the only way you can actually become something. You can't be afraid of taking risks. Risk taking is very important. You may lose and not win, but it's okay, because if you never try, then you're never gonna get the chance to become whatever you want to be. So yeah, and definitely invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to spend money. As long as you're not wasting your money, as long as you're not throwing it away. If you feel like it's your passion and it's something that you're 100% sure that you can make that money back doing, do it. Invest in yourself, definitely. That's what I did. Yeah, and it's paying off right now. And I can tell you that music, everything I have, pretty much is because of music. Every single place that I've ever been, well, in terms of like performances, because I'm also a traveling artist. I travel and I perform, and it's because of music. So definitely invest in yourself.
So what are some of those places that you were speaking of that you've been?
I've been to Paris. I've been to Martinique. I've been to a whole bunch of places in the States, Canada, just to name a few. And I was actually scheduled to go to other places, and then the pandemic came, so everything is on hold now. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing since probably 3 to 4 years now. I've been traveling, performing, and it's been fun.
So what are some places you're planning to go to after the pandemic?
I really want to go to Africa. I was planning on going to Egypt last year. That didn't happen. because we had this music video that we wanted to go shoot in Egypt. So I want to go there too. So yeah, pretty much Africa, and then also South America. You know, places like Chile, Brazil. So depending on how things go with the pandemic, I'd want to go to these places.
So speaking of traveling and you being born and raised in Haiti and then moving over to the States and then you traveling to all the different other places you've mentioned, how do you feel about being experienced to new cultures and how it ties into your music?
I love experiencing new cultures, and I myself, I'm bilingual, so I have two different cultures. I have the Haitian culture, which is pretty much what my background is, and then of course this culture, the American culture, and then having traveled to a lot of places, like I've experienced other cultures, and this is why I really want to make different types of music, different genre of music, because it's interesting. It's interesting when you're able to make different types of music in different genres, because each culture has a specific genre. It's a genre that is specific to it. So, you know, when I go to France, you know, people in Paris, they listen to a certain type of music. They play a certain type of music. If you go to, let's say, Mexico, they have a different culture. So they have a different style of music. So being able to make those types of music, and then also it's good for my business. If I'm able to make different types of music depending on what culture it is, then my studio is not going to be limited. My production is not going to be limited to just you know, to just American music and Haitian music. So I love different cultures. I love making different types of music. So.
Activez puissance ou activez puissance ou activez puissance ou nan mwen. Activez puissance ou activez puissance ou activez puissance ou nan mwen. C'est pour differ désolé ma prière. C'est pour démon courir, c'est pour malade guérir les mêmes. C'est pour differ désolé ma prière. Yeah, yeah, Saint-Esprit, mwen bezwen kounya. Fè yon bagay nan la vi ke ou pa jam fè. Pa jam fè. Saint-Esprit, mwen bezwen kounya. Fè yon bagay nan la vi ke ou pa jam fè. Pa jam fè. Saint-Esprit, mwen bezwen kounya. Fè yon bagay nan la vi ke ou pa jam fè. Pa jam fè. Saint-Esprit, Saint-Esprit, mwen bezwen kounya. Fè yon bagay nan la vi ke ou pa jam fè. Que eu pouco já uma bagagem sempre fui muito besouro punya veio bagay na vida que eu pouco já
So speaking on that, and you talk about producing and working with people of all different cultures, what languages have you had to mix and master songs in and things of that nature?
Creole, English, French, Spanish, and then there was this one time I had to make a Vietnamese music. Well, actually, you know what? I've made Ethiopian music, and it was very interesting because, well, first of all, I had no idea what the people were singing,
Right.
but the genre was different. It was very different. It was very interesting, and I actually learned a lot from making Ethiopian music because it was the first time that I learned that Ethiopian music, there's a certain type of scale that you need to that the music Ethiopian music is built upon. So there's certain notes that can't be in that scale. So I learned a lot, and I had to mix and master a Chinese song, which was also very interesting because, again, I had no idea what the person was singing. The music was different, and that's the thing with music, is that it doesn't matter what language they're speaking, it doesn't matter what genre of music. When it comes to mixing and mastering, it's music. So you just have to try your best to make it sound nice, sound commercial. And I've had a lot of experience with different genres and different languages, and it's been fun. Yeah.
Who are some of your influences when it came to music? Like, who inspired you to start making your own music?
A lot of people. I don't have just one influence. It's a mixture of a whole bunch of people. I would say that my mentor, somebody that I really look up to, is this guy called Jamal Hartwell, and he actually lives in Orlando, and this guy is amazing. And I remember when I first started making music, I was like, man, I really want to be like this guy. The way he plays, especially, it's not even the production side, but it's the playing side. I just love the way he plays, and I would watch this guy for hours. I would watch his DVDs. I would listen to his music. So he's a huge influence. And then I just, I don't have a favorite. I don't have somebody specific that I look up to besides Jamal. And I'm the type of person, if I like how you do things, then I'm gonna follow you. You know, I'm gonna do what you do. And so yeah, that's pretty much it.
So as an artist, you're expected to go through trials and tribulations. What have been some of your trials and tribulations as an artist, and how have you overcome them?
As an artist, I want to say, dealing with the lack of support in the Haitian community, and that's a big thing. And we don't have the artists in the Haitian community. They don't get the support that they need, and because of that, you know, sometimes you get discouraged. You know, sometimes you you don't have the drive to make music because of that. You know, people will tell you you're doing a good job, but that's about it. Like, you would go perform, and then after the performance, you know, it's a headache for them to pay you what they owe you, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. So I feel like the lack of support in the Haitian community is something that I would say is one of the biggest obstacles that I've faced in my musical career. And besides that, I mean, I don't think there's anything else. I've always done pretty much everything on my own. I've never dealt with any record labels. I've never dealt with, you know, having somebody that actually, like a promoter that actually helps me promote my stuff. So when it comes to music, I've been able to do everything on my own. But the lack of support, I think, is something that I've come across that is very discouraging. And if I wasn't doing music because of the passion behind it, then you know, I would have been discouraged. But that's about it. That's pretty much about it.
Okay. So you speak on a lack of support, but what can you say about the amount of support you do get and receive?
You don't. Well, that's the thing. You don't get much. I have support. See, the support that I have. Okay, let me put it this way. I have had a lot of support, but it's like verbal support. You know, people encouraging you, telling you, "Hey, I love your stuff. I love your music. Keep doing what you're doing." But on a financial standpoint, there's no support in the Haitian community. Now, there's a whole bunch of other tools that'll help you make money in music. You know, you have YouTube. You have online digital distribution. If people like your music and they stream your music, then you'll be able to make money from that. And then you know, and then the American community, the international community, you know, you'll get a lot of support, because if people like your stuff, then you'll make money. They'll pay for it. You know, it's just like anybody. Like, you go to Walmart, if you see something you like, you're gonna pay for it. You know, you go any place, you see something you like, you won't pay for it. But it's something with our community that we just don't want to pay for anything. Like, you know, if I would sell you, I would say, okay, you would ask me, a Haitian would come up to you and say, okay, how much is this? And you say, okay, it's $1. Just pay me $1, I give it to you. They'll find a way to see if they can give you 99 cents for it. Like, you know, can you give it to me for 99 cents? Like, you know, it's that type of stuff. Like, but again, music is it's global, it's international. So there's a lot of other ways to make money in music. Like I said, we have a lot of tools, especially online tools. We have iTunes, we have Google Play, we have YouTube. You know, that's why, and that's one of the reasons why now I'm starting to make more like English songs, English tracks and stuff like that, because I was raised in the Haitian community, and it was easier for me to make Creole songs. And I had already had a fan base, so it was easier for me to build on top of that. But now I'm starting to branch out and make more music on a more international level. Yeah, so.
So you spoke about the tools online, and YouTube, for one, is a huge one. And you're speaking on your fan base. So, like, what are some of the numbers you've done with your music?
Well, right now, altogether, I know I'm pretty much over 1 million views on YouTube. There's this one song that I have on YouTube. It's very close to 1 million views. So it's about 700,000 views or whatnot. So I have some numbers on YouTube, and people seem to like my stuff. Like, I would post something, and then within a couple months, like, it'll be well over 50K on YouTube in views. So, yeah, I have some good numbers. Like I said, my stuff is not bad. The stuff that I produce, the music that I make is not bad, and people like my stuff. So yeah. So in terms of numbers, I still haven't gotten to where I want to be yet, because not only am I producing for myself, I'm producing for other people, and so it's difficult for me to focus on my stuff and be consistent. But once I start producing for myself only, I think I'll reach the level I want to get at.
And what are some of those levels and goals that you want to be at and reaching?
1 million views within 3 months for every track that I do.
Okay.
So if I can hit 1 million views in 3 months, if I post a track in 3 months, it gets to 1 million views. I think I'll be good, and I think I'm gonna get to a point where I'm gonna get to that point. I'm gonna get to that point where it's gonna go that way.
You sound very confident in your music. Where does the confidence come from?
I think I've perfected my craft. I think I know what it is to be a music producer. I've done it for a long time, and so I'm confident. And I've never really made music that people think is trash. I've had a lot of stuff where people tell me, hey, if I were you, I would do this. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. But I've never made any music where people be like, hey, this is trash. This is not good. So I'm confident. I'm confident that I can get to this level where I could post something and then it goes viral. So again, it takes work. It takes consistency. It takes focus. And as soon as I have the time to focus on myself, I know it's gonna happen.
Now, I like what you spoke on about with your experiences with people, and I know a story that you told me yourself about getting opinions from people and things. And I remember this particular story where you told me how you made a track and you sent it over to a friend of yours, and they're like, I don't know, and they're like, fix this, fix that, and then send it back to me. And you told me you sent them back the same song, maybe 20, 30 minutes later. Nothing changed at all. And they're like, yep, that's it. So when things like that happen, like, how do you process it? How do you just look at it?
It's funny to me. I think it's funny to me because you meet those types of people that are there's certain types of people where nothing is good with them. Like it's
everyone's a critic.
Right. So or it's like nothing is good until they give their opinion, and that's when it's good. And so that's a technique that I use often, actually, is if I feel like my music is good and I've listened to it, I've double checked, I've proofread it, and I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. I've had other people listen to it, and then if I send it to you and I'm confident that it's good, I'll listen to you. I'll be like, okay, no problem, and then I'll send you the same track, and then just to see your reaction. And that's the thing. That's the same thing that happened. He told me that there was something wrong with the mixing and the mastering or whatever. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on it some more. So, I didn't touch the song for like 3 or 4 days, and then I sent it back to him the same way, and he was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That, like, and I'm like, man, I didn't touch anything. But it's funny to me. Like, I don't even, when things like that happen, it doesn't even bother me, because I know these types of people exist. I know. And then as an artist, I'm also open to criticism. Like, I don't mind criticism, as long as I know that you're making a valid point. Because if your point is not valid, then I'm gonna leave my stuff the way it is. But if you're making a valid point, and then also I'm gonna get a second opinion. I'm not gonna mess up my stuff just because one person says something is bad in the song or whatever. So I'm gonna get a second opinion. If everybody's saying the same thing, then yes, something is wrong. But yeah, I'm usually really good when it comes to criticism. You know, I don't mind.
So last question I have for you. So with all your experiences and your knowledge dealing with music, what is some information that you would pass along to someone else that wants to do music?
Well, the first thing is you can never give up. That's the first thing. Second thing is invest in yourself. You know, like we were saying at the beginning, you have to invest in yourself. You can't be afraid to take risks. You know, if you know that there's something out there that you need to perfect your skills, to perfect your craft, you know, get it. Like, save money for it, buy it. You know, sometimes I've had to pass on you know, McDonald's or something to eat just because I know that I'm gonna save that extra money to buy something that I really need for the studio. So and then keep practicing, because practice makes permanent. I don't believe in practice making perfect. That's me personally, because it doesn't matter how much you practice, you can never be perfect. You know, you'll mess up sometime. And so I feel like practice makes permanent, like a permanent marker. You know, so if you keep practicing, it'll stick. So keep practicing, keep upgrading. That's my thing to everybody that's making music. You have to keep upgrading. You know, the technology is constantly changing. You have to be up to date. And then that's pretty much it. And then just rely on God for everything else. Yeah, that would be my advice to everybody who's making music right now.
Well, Spencer, we want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for all the great tools that you provided us. Thank you for welcoming us inside to your studio. And hopefully we'll see you again very soon.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.